Hello, and welcome to the National Convention of Fantastic Humans. I am Roy Huffman, and it is with great pleasure to introduce to everyone the most mystical and magnificent human being in the world, Brian White. Brian was born to the world on January 16, 1993, being delivered on the back of a large African lion to the unsuspecting town of Raleigh, North Carolina. He later moved to Burlington, North Carolina when he was 3 years old and lived out his days eating at various restaurants on every street corner, since that is literally all there is to do in Burlington. In Brian's spare time, he enjoyed playing various different sports such as soccer, basketball, tennis, and baseball. In other words, Brian was just a real baller. Brian's childhood consisted of going outside of the wilderness where he would survive for several days at a time. This led to him being raised by a pack of wolves who helped him learn the ways of nature and how perilous the world could be. However, learning about the reality of not being able to make a decent living surviving in the wilderness, Brian decided to enroll at Appalachian State University. This is where I ultimately met Brian for the first time. Brian was a genuinely nice person. However, there was something special about him. I believe Brian was mildly insane. Some of the red flags were when we went to get food for the first time and Brian just began screaming, help me," out of the window of my car, which to this day he still does sometimes. The best indicator, however, was when Brian was taking a shower in the freshman dormitories, and someone went in and stole his towel and clothes. Now, most people would just complain about the predicament or simply stay in the shower until a roommate or a friend got them some more clothes. But not Brian. As soon as the thief exited the bathroom, Brian was hot on his heels with no shame. Brian then nakedly tackled the thief and retrieved his clothes, which he just held in his hand as he proudly walked back to the shower with his prize. That was the first, but not last time, I saw Brian naked. Following the incident, Brian began studying biology to become a physician's assistant. To his dismay, biology turned out to be a terrible mistake due to how difficult and boring biology classes were. After his sophomore year, Brian changed his major to accounting. After two long years of extra semester hours in summer school, Brian graduated in May of 2015 with his bachelor's degree in accounting. Brian had an internship with Cherry Becker, LLP, in the winter of 2015, where he spent the majority of his time cashing checks and breaking necks. Brian was fortunate enough to receive a job offer with Cherry Becker and will be starting work in August of 2016. Currently, Brian is still at Appalachian State University, attempting to receive his master's degree in accounting. In addition, Brian has goals of sitting for the CPA exam, but that really hasn't gone exactly to plan. Brian's other hobbies include working out at the gym 5 days a week, watching me play Fallout for 4 hours at a time, and listening to his other roommate, Mike Aiello, tell stories for what seems like about hours on end. Brian still enjoys scavenging in the woods on occasion, and some nights we have to send a search party out for him where Brian can be found asleep and naked next to a half-eaten deer. I can only assume this is how he gets his gains at the gym. The future holds much for Brian, whether it's his next meal of chicken with rice and green beans that he eats 4 days a week, chasing down an 8-point buck in the wilderness and incapacitating it with his bare hands, or simply completing grad school and leading a successful life. Brian can achieve whatever he wants, and he is here to tell you how to do the same. Without further ado, please welcome Brian White. Thank you.